Alright, welcome back to another Megiddo Gaming video. Um, Wizard Wednesdays, as I said. Gonna try and bring information from anything Wizards related, the new Magic the Gathering MMO as we get news, as well as Magic the Gathering in general. I will be starting that once I get a new camera. And as of right now, we're going to be going over the Mod 13 preview. Now, as you may know, I am an Xbox player, so any footage that you see here is just going to be me playing Mod 12B, of course, but I did want to share some information that we have about Mod 13, specifically going over some companions, some mounts, the new weapons, the new gear, and this may be a part one. New information will come out, and I'll be able to share that with you. And definitely for us console players, this is going to give us even more of a head start in shooting for what we want. Now, quick disclaimer, since this information is based off of preview, any of this is subject to change, and I will tell you more about that on specific things, because if it's one thing we know that whether it's a preview or not, Cryptic definitely likes to change things up on us. So don't take this as gospel, just kind of giving you an idea of what to look forward to. And then, of course, every Wednesday I will try and update with more information. So let's go ahead and get on into it. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the Zen market. The Zen market is going to be a strong component to this new mod. A lot of the key things that you'll want are probably going to be in there, and there may even be some new things coming out yet. Don't know, but we'll have to take a look at that. But first thing we're going to get into is 3 Zen specific items, and we're going to start with one of the mounts. So if you've seen my previous videos, you know that I'm all for Zen mounts, just so that way you can have account-wide unlocks. And so if there's a specific insignia bonus that you want, you can then, instead of always getting a certain mount per character, you can just go to the Zen market, buy one mount, and it's account-wide. So the new mount is the spiked, and I'll try and say this, the spiked Deinonychus, something like that. Anyways, it looks like a little raptor with horns on it. If you want an account-wide Assassin's Covenant or Gladiator Guile unlock, that is an option. He's only available on the Zen market, so if you need an Assassin's Covenant or Gladiator Guile account-wide, I would go with that. Other than that, it doesn't have any special stats or anything. There are other mounts that are coming out. There are a set of crabs, a set of spiders, and also the Triceratops mount. I'm not going into much detail because unless you're like a great weapon fighter or a tank or something, you need a lot of defense. I mean, this channel is mostly geared to trickster rogues. The Triceratops is not going to do you much good. There are legendary and epic versions of that, of course, and so you can either have 4,000 defense or 1,000 or 2,000 defense. The crabs aren't that impressive. They come with the pack, the mount packs that come through the Soulmonger lockboxes. Different colors of those and different styles. The same with the spiders. There really isn't, unless you're a mount collector, there isn't much purpose to them or utility. So, of course, the top two would be the spiked Deinonychus or the Triceratops if you're actually looking for utility or stats. Now, to kind of get into companions real quick, there is something called the Alpha Compy, and the only reason that I recommend the Alpha Compy is because The damage increase that it gives is minimal at 3%. Does do 5% if you're in Chult. So while we're still doing this, it is going to be decent, but I would only use it as an active. I wouldn't use it as a summoned companion. If you did want to use it as a summoned companion, though, I would recommend giving it a shot maybe for Trickster Rogue power builds, just because it does have that 3% to 5% increase, but it's also, its stats are power, recovery, and HP. So having an active bonus like that, but only giving you power and recovery, whereas, before we only had the options of having like the Liland, which was 3 rings and 3 offense slots, but the active bonus wasn't good. If you go with the Compy actually has 3 ring slots, just like the Liland does, but it has 2 offense and 1 defense. So it's up to you if you want to give that a shot, but definitely think about it hard before you do anything, because it is a Zen only item. Now, one of the Zen only items I would consider a must have for different reasons. The Cholton Tiger companion does have 3 offense slots, and it actually its powers, its abilities when it attacks are quite similar to those of, like a Sellsword or Con Artist. But it has an active bonus of 5%, up to 5% increased damage. Then you take its abilities into account, and you can have 20% more damage dealt from him when it causes the enemy to bleed, and also 10% from any source. So whether it's from you or another party member, so you're going to get that 10% damage increase, and you're going to get the 5% from his active, and he's going to deal an extra 20%. Now, he's also a fast procking companion too. He's got a single attack for fast procking that can cause a bleed, and he's also got a wide area of effect attack that can cause bleeds. So the Cholton Tiger, yes, you have to buy it in the Zen market. Of course, you have the option to convert Astral Diamonds to get it. I would suggest going with that, though, because I feel that's going to replace all of these Sellswords and Con Artists we see running around, and all these you're not going to see so many of these fire guys running around. So if you're going to spend your money on anything on this new mod, I would definitely suggest going with the Cholton Tiger. It does also come with a piece of armor, which we're going to get into, or it also gives you a weapon, which we're going to get into next. So there's different weapon sets that are coming out. There's different ways to obtain them. They all have the same base stats across the board. I'm not going to go into details about all of them, because once again, it could change. It is a preview, but I would actually say currently it's a matter of preference. So for me, the best weapon set, in my opinion, is going to be the primal set. The only reason why I say that is because even before 12B came out, we were able to run Tomb of the Nine Gods, and you get Seals of the Brave. So we have, from now until the new mod 13, comes out on consoles, to save up 1,500 Seals of the Brave, and we already have the new weapon set. Now, all these new weapon sets have an ability called Exalted. Exalted just increases the base stats after they're maxed out. Now, to make them Exalted, you're going to have to farm a bunch of resources, kind of like when we were revivifying weapons or armor. So to already have that head start with just saying, hey, here's 1,500 Seals of the Brave, give me my weapons, let me refine them, rank them up, and then you can go into Exalted. It's going to make it that much easier and faster to do it. Now, it doesn't mean that they have the best bonuses or anything, but we also don't know how things are going to affect. So, for instance, like I said, all of these weapon sets have the same stats, but some of them are harder to get than others. So, like the next set that I want to talk about was Tyrant. Tyrant is going to be by far the hardest weapon set that you'll have to get, because it can only be done through the tier 3 hunts or getting the trophies of the tyrant. Um, having the same base stats, it does have a different bonus, and the bonus isn't all that much better in damage output. But just the amount of work that you have to put into it, you would hope that the base stats or the bonus would be even that much more greater, but it's not. So currently, as the preview stands, I would not recommend the Tyrant weapon set. Maybe if you really need to max out damage output, but you know, this is the last story of the Tomb of Annihilation as far as the tabletop board game goes. If they want to go into mod 14 continuing the story, I don't know. But the actual story based in D&D lore, it's going to be done. So I wouldn't suggest going with the Tyrant weapons, because to get the most use out of the Tyrant weapons, you have to use these little buffs that you can only get through getting treasures and drops in Chult. So once Chult's done, unless you want to continue like adding this to another part of your dailies you need to do, it's going to be just like when you had to get Von in Blood to keep your armor up. So we're in Chult right now, and people that have relic gear, you know, at first you'd have to go and keep, you know, pumping it up with Von in Blood. So unless you want to do that again with the Tyrant stuff, I would suggest going with Primal. Now the other weapon set, if nothing is adjusted, is not as easy to get, but does have a better bonus. So the new Stronghold weapons that are coming out are going to be easy for people that have their Mastercraft done, or have a lot of AD to spend to buy it from people that crafted it and threw it on the market, or got it from a guildie or something like that. Not as easy as just throwing 1500 seals at it, but the Stronghold weapons actually have a neat little ability. Like, you can get different abilities that are going to help you defensively and offensively, and they're all triggered as soon as you enter combat. But it also has a different ability. Whenever you use a daily power, it actually triggers again, and then the next thing that you use will trigger whether it's going to be defensive or offensive. So if you if you go into combat and then you dodge roll, you're going to end up getting defensive abilities. You pop your daily and then attack, it's going to increase your damage output. Now there's no word or not if this is going to stack, as far as like if you can crack off dailies really quick, or if it will trigger off of other things. But right now, the fact that you can refresh that and kind of tool your character mid-battle just by triggering your daily power makes it a very versatile weapon. So if you've got the AD or the Mastercraft or know a friend or something, I would go with the Stronghold weapons. Other than that, the easiest ones to obtain are going to be the Primal. And then, of course, I'll update if they make any changes, because like I said, all the stats are the same. But with as hard as it is to get the Tyrant weapons, that they would have to do a buff, or worse, as Cryptic likes to do, they'll nerf the other ones. They'll knock them down and not make them as good. So those are subject to change, and I'll do an update video as if any changes do come out. But let's move on to the new sets. So pretty much everyone has been rocking the Orca set. Some people still, use the... not too many people use it anymore, so I forget the name of it already. Man. Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. Lost Moss set. There we go. See, it's been so long since I use it. The new set, there are new sets. So there's the Skull Lord set, the Serpent set, and the Soulmonger set. To be honest, I don't see anything good about any of them unless you're like a tank build. Some of this seems to be really geared towards the defensive side of things, which is actually good. Excuse me just a second. Oh, throat was getting dry. which is a good thing though, because it, like I talked in my other video, the end game boss, if it's based off the tabletop, is going to not even have to inflict a lot of damage because it's going to drain life out of you with its own life steal, and there's a chance that there's an item there that's going to make it so you can't gain life. So the less damage you take, or you have a good tank in there, that's good. But as far as DPS classes such as us, you're not going to get much out of these new sets. I would say, if anything, the Soulmonger set would probably be one of the better ones. If you are going to use it as a DPS, I don't recommend it because you're not going to be doing as much damage output. But it does offer things like temporary hit points and stuff that are going to help. Not by much, it's a small fraction, especially since our hit points aren't usually very high. But I guess for those that really want to max out their item level, which I'm not someone who really is into the whole item level thing, because based on how you build your character and your playstyle, you know, you could be a 15k TR and you could stomp a 17k TR just based off how you built your character, not the fact that it's got the highest item level. So I would say currently, unless we find out something different, Orcus is still going to be best, which is nice. That'll allow you to have more refinement available for the new weapons. And I mean, other than that, yeah, those are my recommendations. I mean, the mounts aren't really that important. I would say companion-wise, the Chilton Tiger, you're going to want to get that, save your AD, or, you know, break out that credit card, get that Chilton Tiger. And the easiest set, Primal set, and the could be easiest but best, depending on if you have Mastercraft or AD to throw at it, was Beast. But we'll wait and see if there's any updates on that. We definitely have plenty of time. Now, one thing I wanted to go over is, as a TR community, we have been really strong in the forums and the streams and the AMAs and everything about the Trickster Rogue rework. And I don't want anyone to believe what is coming out, or which is out on preview, is the rework. If it is the rework, we're in a lot of trouble. If it's just a taste of what we've mentioned in the October bug fixes, then at least we know they're listening to us. But what we have in Mod 13 preview is not overly helpful. And I'm going to go over some of these real quick. So, Duelist Flurry can now trigger weapon enchantments with each hit against the target, which is good. I mean, the lightning enchant, as far as I know, let's see here, character sheet. Lightning enchant. It says that the lightning enchant will work on all weapon, or it says it'll work with all weapon enchantments, which is good. But I didn't know that there was actually a problem with that, because even if you look here with lightning, the lightning's working. So I'm hitting one dummy, it's going off to the other one. So I don't know if it's going to talk about the bleeds, but every hit of Duelist Flurry seems to be working with the lightning. As far as I knew, it worked with the Fey Touch when I do PvP. So I don't know what that one's all about, but if we were missing out on something, it's definitely good to have an increase in damage output. This was Gloaming Cut. It says that the tooltip was updated, but the functionality wasn't changed. Well, not too many people actually use that anyway, since perma-stealth's no longer a thing. So who cares? One thing I do like, and some people I don't or think it's worth anything, is Impact Shot now deals another 20% more damage. Now, I like to solo bosses, so I actually sometimes use Impact Shot when I'm soloing Orcus. So to have an extra 20% more damage just means it's going to take a lot less time for me to kill Orcus, which I'm all for. People that are running Whisper classes, ability because they're more ranged. So Impact Shot being increased, that's really good. It also calculates based on the amount of charges left correctly. Before it didn't, apparently. So that's going to help a lot as well. One of the other things that was changed was oppressive damage. So the oppressive damage wasn't calculated correctly, but it says that it was doing more damage than intended. And when let's see here, powers. Let's go in here. Oppressive darkness. All right. So let's just go ahead and equip this. So if I go over here with oppressive darkness equipped, let's see, can I remember how to do this? I'm still stuck on Skyforge. Alright, log. Alright, so let's see if we can see this. I gotta get combat advantage, don't I? Oh, calm down, calm down. Alright, so we gotta see this here. If I can't fight it right away, I'll just tell you from memory. Physical damage, tainted attack, smoke bomb, dazing strike. Alright, so there's way too much to scroll through, so I'm just going to tell you. The last time that I checked what Oppressive Darkness actually did was only gave me 908 more damage from having combat advantage. It like triggered its own ability. So the oppressive damage saying that it did more damage than intended and they changed that, that's scary because it was dealing nothing before. So if that's the case, and I'll ask some of my buddies that are playing this on the preview test server to find out what they know. If they made it even worse, then what was the point? That was time that the devs could have spent on something else that they completely wasted on Oppressive Darkness. Path of Blades can now proc the Lost Moth's Vengeance effect. Path of Blades can now proc weapon enchantments, but only on the first hit. And Path of Blade now deals an extra tick of damage. And Path of Blades now hits up to 5 targets, increased from 3. So from some of the people that I've been seeing online, forums and videos, they're saying that Path of Blades is not a very useful power. And I would say that's situational. If you're in an area with a lot of mobs, I've been known to run Path of Blades. Now, unfortunately, the weapon enchant procking only on the first hit, that's annoying. I could definitely see Path of Blades being on par or even replacing Smoke Bomb had they made it that it was on every hit. Because there are ups and downs to Path of Blades, but there's more downs, and that's why people don't run it. The extra tick of damage is nice, and the increase in number of targets is nice. Now, other than that, I'm going to have to do some testing or find out from some friends, but I mean, it is a positive. Increase the number of targets, increase an extra tick, and it deals at least on one hit. So it's better. It's not nerfed or anything. So I mean, that's a good thing. So we'll just have to wait and see how that works. But I think people are still going to end up keeping with Smoke Bomb. The next thing is mostly just for the Whisper Knives. Is Razor action was adjusted to increase its radius, but it no longer deals piercing damage. But it does scale with power, and buffs therein. So that's nice, but I don't think that's going to make Razor action as competitive with Invisible Infiltrator or Skinful Infiltrator if you go Master Infiltrator route. So I don't feel that adjusting Impact Shot and Razor action is really going to make people jump ship to Whisper Knife. Shadow of Demise was adjusted. It only so whenever you were running with another Trickster Rogue and you wanted to check the Pain Giver board, depending on who procced Shadow of Demise first, they would get credit for it. This, of course, now has been changed, so now you can see how you stack up with your TR friends that are also running Shadow of Demise. So that's nice. Shadowborn. So this one's been adjusted. So whenever you enter stealth, your next encounter or daily power deals an additional up to 25% damage as physical damage. So originally, this was any hit and was at 100%, which if you could time it just right and you didn't have any bleed ticks or poison or anything else going on, you could hit for a substantial lot, but that was adjusted. So now it's on your encounter or daily, and it's 25%. Since I'm still on console here, I'm going to talk to my friends on preview and see how it compares. It could be good, it could be bad. I'll have to look more into it, and I'll have more details on how these are taken into effect as more time for testing is allowed. Shadowy Opportunity now deals 50% weapon damage, down from 100%, but now scales with a player's stats. So if you have high stats, it could be the same or better. We'll have to see how that goes. Sly Flourish now increases enemies' damage taken by 10% rather than reducing an enemy's armor, which is actually a lot nicer. So having an increase in damage over reducing a damage resistance or something like that, the limit to how much you can reduce in damage and less to the amount of damage taken. So that makes Life Force a little more viable, which is nice for those running like Power or Sabo builds. I think they run Sly Flourish mostly, so that's going to be good. Smoke Bomb now procs weapon enchantments. However, like Path of Blades, it's only on the first hit. So it's like, here's a taste, but you don't get the most out of it. But it's an increase of damage either way because it's going to proc it. Smoke Bomb also deals an extra tick of damage. However, here's the punch to the gut. Damage for each tick has been reduced to compensate. So from what I can deduce from that is that they had to add an extra tick of damage, that first tick of damage, in order to get Smoke Bomb to proc the weapon enchantment. They couldn't just make one of the existing ticks do it. So then they just lowered the damage output for each tick. If that's not the case, then once again we fall into a category of wasted time for a little reward, which would seem weird considering all of us players do that daily, but now the developers are doing that as well. One of the last things here is Tenacious Concealment. So Tenacious Concealment, this power now grants 20% stealth loss reduction and 5% stealth regeneration at each rank. This power no longer grants stealth regeneration while taking damage. And rank 4, this power should now properly function, as well as the artifact offhand bonus has been increased to 20% stealth loss reduction. So there's a good chance that we could have perma stealth back, depending on how we can combo this and work it together. The fact that when taking damage, it will impede your regeneration, I would say if you're going to get the increased damage and increased stealth from this, it might even be viable on Whisper Knife. So we got a few things that are upticking on the Whisper Knife side of things, which are good. That's one of the big arguments that we had, well, forever. So that could definitely help out there. So really, that's all I've got for you right now. So not too many exciting things with Mod 13, but of course we're just getting into the little equipment and power details. There were other changes made to it other than with the Trickster Rogue, and I may do a separate video on that, but I know my channel is mostly with Trickster Rogue, so I wanted to get that information out first. But yeah, if you have any questions in the comments, let me know. If you have different ideas on what the best weapon or gear set or companion, anything, whatever your opinions are, if you feel there's a better option, definitely let me know down in the comment section. And just wanted to give a quick apology for anyone that's watching this while while I'm streaming it. Yes, I stream all the YouTube content through Twitch. I use it as a recording device and I output it to YouTube. So anyone rewatching this, I wasn't ignoring the viewers purposely as much as just trying to make content for my YouTube channel. So I do apologize if anybody was in the chat saying hi or anything. I am going to put in more time to do some streaming just for Twitch, not, just for my YouTube channel. But I'm poor. Well, I'm not poor, but I'm cheap. And if Twitch is going to be a way for me to record my YouTube videos, I'm going to go ahead and use it. But anything else pops up, I'm definitely going to do an update video. I'm still going to do one every Wednesday. But if you're new to watching this video, definitely like, subscribe, share it, whatever you want to do. Doesn't bother me either way. And hope you have a good day. Thanks for watching.